Hello and welcome to Good Evening Britain, a Force for Good's weekly show coming to you live from our studios here in the heart of the great British city of Glasgow with me, your host, Alistair McConnachie. We are broadcasting on all our digital platforms throughout the United Kingdom and across the world. We're bringing you quality, pro-UK comment and analysis every Wednesday from 7 until 8 p.m. on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, and also on TikTok. Please, folks, do tell us where you're watching from tonight. Please do send in your greetings, send in your comments on this autumnal evening, the third day of autumn. Oh, the year goes so quickly now. We have a guest coming up at 7:30. He is going to be the co-organizer with A Force for Good of the Enough is Enough rally, which is this Saturday the 6th, outside Holyrood, 12 for a 12:30 start. More about that in a minute. Before Nick comes on, Nick Mitchell from the We Say It podcast, helping us to organize the event on Saturday. Before Nick comes on at 7:30, I want to talk all about the event and I want to explain what we're hoping to get out of it. And if you're going to be there, please do tell us. And please do, folks, share this broadcast. If you're watching on X, please give us a repost. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe and share as well. And if you're watching on Facebook, give us a thumbs up and a share, folks, because that's the way that we get the message out there. And, you know, we do extremely well on what we've got, and we depend upon all you good folk out there to be sharing, to be commenting, to be liking. That's the way that we get heard. And goodness me, we deserve to be heard. A really exciting event coming up on Saturday. Let me just say hello to one or two people who have come in. The first person tonight was E. Wood, who says, I hope it's a great turnout. And E. Wood is looking in from Texas, of all places. Great to have you in the house. Derek says, good evening, AFFG and Alistair. Very few days before we are in Holyrood. Can't wait. Show them the Union heart. Hashtag stop the boats. And Debbie Beer says, good evening, everyone, as does Oksana and Derek from Armadale. And I know a man that's going to be at the rally on Saturday. That's Anthony. Hi to you, Anthony. And Catherine as well. Catherine reposted this stream on X. Thank you, Catherine. That's how we get the message out. And Anthony's shared it on Facebook. Thank you. This is how we do it, folks. This is how we do it. Christopher says, good evening from Falkirk. See you on Saturday too. Yes, Christopher. Fantastic. Catherine's viewing in from Largs. A fantastic seaside town, Largs. Absolutely. I love Largs. So, behind me is the Merchant Navy flag. And it says here, other way, every seaman is not only a navigator, but a merchant. And the bottom line there says, and also a soldier. Let's just remove that, the runner. There we go. Can we see it? Let me move this. And why have we got that up today? Well, today is Merchant Navy Day, the 3rd of September. And the 3rd of September was, in fact, the beginning of World War II, 3rd of September 1939. But it's also Merchant Navy Day, which is a day to commemorate the sacrifice of around 37,000 men who were killed in World War II, which is over a quarter of the merchant seamen who kept supplies running to the United Kingdom and also to our allies. And it's also to remember around 15,000 seamen who were lost in World War I as well. And the 3rd of September today was chosen as Merchant Navy Day because it's the date in 1939 of the sinking of the first British merchant ship torpedoed in World War II, the SS Athenia, a steam turbine transatlantic passenger liner built in Glasgow in 1923. That was torpedoed on the day that war broke out. And so that's why the 3rd of September is considered to be Merchant Navy Day. We can put the thing back up now. So we like to remember that, and that's a stunning flag. I really like that flag. That is from a Merchant Navy poster of the day, encouraging the brave souls to join the Merchant Navy. Goodness me, that was a task and a half, and what a task, because they weren't necessarily considered in the Royal Navy, but their job was as dangerous as being in the Royal Navy. So it's good that they've got a day that we can remember them on. Now, I have got a runny nose again. It seems to always happen on a Wednesday. I don't know, maybe I'm allergic to Wednesdays or something like that. Anyway, should clear up by the weekend. It's just a bout of hay fever. Somebody said my nose looks as red as that flag in the background. If it wasn't for the important day that's coming up, we'd probably have had to cancel this particular show today. But we prevail. We prevail now. What is our purpose on Saturday at our Enough is Enough rally? Why are we calling it? What's the political strategy, the thinking behind what we're doing? So let me get into that. Oh my goodness me, this is getting ridiculous. Let me get into the thinking of it. I want to start by explaining what we're trying to do here, as they say. Now, there's a Holyrood election next May, 7th of May, not very far away. And the establishment politicians and the establishment media want to ignore the mass immigration and the fraudulent asylum seeking. Well, we want to ensure that they cannot ignore it. Okay, now this is our second Enough is Enough rally. The first one was last year on approximately the same date in George Square in Glasgow. Now, George Square's closed off, so we're holding this one in Edinburgh at Holyrood. It's the first ever that we're aware of immigration restriction event in public in Edinburgh in the history of the world that I'm aware of. And it's all part of a strategy, one, to bring people together around the policy of stopping the levels of mass immigration and fraudulent asylum seeking into Scotland and the UK. Last year, into Scotland alone, there was 76,000 people long-term came in to stay in Scotland. That's a population about the size of Paisley, Scotland's 5th largest town. That's unsustainable. Okay, unsustainable. That's before you even get into all the fraudulent asylum seeking that's going on. And we want to bring people around together. When we say that, we want to bring people from all of the political tendencies, Scottish Unionist and Scottish Nationalist together. We want to bring people together around that topic. We can't necessarily bring people together around other topics, but around this topic, there is room for people on all sides of the political equation to come together around a shared concern about these issues. And bringing people together is what politics is about. Finding allies wherever one can is what politics is about, even when these people may have different views on various other matters. We're bringing them together around the idea that controlling our borders is an essential political policy that we must grasp, albeit one that the Scottish media establishment have tried to bury for nigh on 50 years. And so it's an issue which involves everyone, regardless of whether they're Scottish Unionist or Scottish Nationalist. And all are going to be welcome at our rally. Now, there is also a Scottish Nationalist rally being held on the same day in the same vicinity. So that actually works out quite well. And I'm hopeful that some of the people at the Scottish Nationalist March will be able to hear what we're saying and may be able to be may agree with some of what we're saying. Okay, so I would hope that both groups of people will be able to the extent that it's possible and to the extent that the police allow, may be able to actually intermingle to a certain extent. And I ask that we all do our best to get on in that regard, because I know that the Scottish Nationalists are wanting for somebody to grasp the thistle of the mass immigration issue, because there's a lot of Scottish Nationalists who don't like what's happening either, but they will never have any of their official leadership speak for them on this matter. Okay, so that's where we come in, and we can help them, we can guide them onto the correct way of thinking, as it were. So that's what we're hopeful for. And I would ask that we don't just see the other side as some kind of opposition. There will be quite a few people, no doubt, flying flags of foreign countries on the other side. But I think we should just simply avoid being bothered by that and not engage with that at all, because that is actually a different issue, which is a complete distraction from what we're trying to do here. And in fact, it's a complete distraction from Scottish independence as well. But certainly it's a complete distraction from what we're trying to do. So just ignore the people with the foreign flags and let them just do their thing, as it were. So bringing people together is the first thing that we want to do. The second thing, as a consequence of bringing people together, is we will help to normalize the immigration restriction conversation and ensure it becomes a key part of the mainstream political discourse at the 2026 Holyrood election. That's what is essential. That is what must happen. Bring people together and normalize the conversation so it becomes a key part of the discourse. And if we can do those two things, then we can build up a large number of people who want to apply that in democracy, which is to say, we can do the third thing. We can lever those numbers to make democratic change happen. We can ensure that sufficient people use their democratic right at the May elections next year to vote for people and parties who will support immigration restriction and who will definitely not vote for those people and parties who want to keep the borders open. And so the idea is ultimately a Holyrood parliamentary clean out of all the people who are responsible for facilitating and maintaining the mass immigration scandal in Scotland. clear them out, clear all the politicians out of Holyrood, and replace them by people who will speak to this issue and who will change the laws and who will prevail also upon the people in Westminster to change the laws to stop the mass immigration and the fraudulent asylum seeking. So that's what we're trying to do here. And time will tell if we'll be successful. And hopefully with your support, we will be successful. Now, let me put up the graphic for the day. If we can just get that up, and I'm going to read some comments. Good to hear from Save Our Future and Our Kids' Futures. They are a group which have been organizing the protests in Falkirk. They say we'll be heading over to give our support on Saturday, hopefully with a good few of our followers. Thank you very much to the men and women of Save Our Future and Our Kids' Futures. That's very much appreciated. Anthony says, teamwork. Teamwork is what we need. I do need that. Thank you. Exiled Vikings also got the sniffles. Christopher says, brilliant, to the Save Our Future and Our Kids' Future people. Quite right, Exiled Viking. The only place we should see foreign flags is outside an embassy. Good. Now, we've got our we can get rid of that comment. We've got our guest coming up. Got our guest coming up at 7:30. It's Nick Mitchell, who is from the We Say It podcast, who's also helping to organize the event on Saturday. Good to be working with Nick in that effort. By the way, just talking about the Merchant Navy here, here's a really nice, well, a very powerful, I think, memorial, which I discovered today. It's in South Shields, was put up in 1990, and apparently an awful lot of merchant seamen sailed from South Shields, and that's why they put that. Quite dynamic memorial up there on a slope to give the impression of movement of the ship rocking in the seas. Good. Now, one or two things that I just want to mention. Yes, I've been reading the National every day so that you don't have to, and trying to find out what their arguments are for the mass immigration situation that they seem so keen upon. And they don't really have any. I mean, basically, the pro-immigration people are divided into, I would say, five categories. There's what I call the internationalists. Some people could call them globalists, cosmopolitans, people who are much prefer the idea of open borders, who don't really believe in nations or borders in the first place, and they consider such terms to be potentially racist or potentially fascist. They've got an inherent suspicion of anybody who's supporting border control or national sovereignty. And that's a lot of people. And these people are often mobilized through membership of NGOs and so-called charities, all of which are always funded by us, of course, which couldn't survive any other way without our funding. Secondly, you get the big business types who are also there, the millionaires or the billionaires, as they say, who believe that mass immigration is good for low wages. If low wages is your thing, then yes, mass immigration is brilliant for keeping wages down. I mean, almost every job now that you apply for is minimum wage only, because there's lots of people that can do it, and so they like it as well. And they also believe that more people in the country means the government will be able to collect more taxes, which means the government will be able to pay the billionaires back the money that they lent the government, that the taxes collected will go to paying the so-called interest payments that the millionaires and billionaires enjoy as a consequence of their ownership of the national debt. So you get them. There's also just British governmental institutions such as the Treasury, which believes mass immigration is good, again, for raising taxes and for paying pensions, and thereby appeasing the big business people or the markets, in order that the markets will continue to be happy with the government's performance and continue to lend more money to the government. And then the fourth group would be what I call the ethnic interests, which is the people from other countries who simply want more people from their countries so that they can build their ethnic clans and their democratic power base with their fellow citizens from the foreign countries. And then you just get the people who are, who are just like anti-white for some reason, who can be a mixture of all of the above, who for whatever personal or ethnic reasons just don't like the native white people of Britain. And, you know, there are quite a few of those sorts of people. And they want to see the native Brits outnumbered and indeed even replaced. And these people are, again, often mobilized through a variety of NGOs and charities. And so they all tend to find their home at the national newspaper. But when you actually read what arguments they actually have for mass immigration, it's very poor. There's nothing really there. We will address one or two of them on Saturday, where looks like we're going to have 7 speakers now. I thought we were just going to be going with 6, but it looks like a 7th has come on today, which is absolutely fantastic. Going to be covering a wide range of issues, and Nick himself will be talking about what approximately the sort of things that he's going to be covering as well. We'll all be talking about different issues, all related to mass immigration and making it heard for really the first time publicly in a public space in Edinburgh in the history of the world. So everybody who's there will be making history. And so I do encourage you to come along at 12 for a 12:30 start outside Holyrood. You won't fail to see us. Just make sure you come to our one, not the all under one banner people. At the moment, the authorities have not yet told either side where we are going to be allowed to stand, but you'll certainly see our group. Come along, join it, and we'll be starting at 12:30, and we should be wrapped up by 2:00. So, you know, give yourself a couple of hours in at the event. It's going to be absolutely tremendous. Let's just put up the thing again. There we go. Enough is enough. Rally outside Holyrood. Saturday the 6th, 12 for 12:30 start. Protect our country. Protect our kids. Fairness in housing. Homes for Scots. Stop the boats. Asylum frauds out. Raise the colours and bring your British Isles flags only. Saltires, Cross of St George's, Union Jacks, Ulster flags, Welsh flags, British Isles flags, Isle of Man flags, Jersey flags, Guernsey flags, anything to do with the British Isles, bring it along. But keep all the foreign flags out of our vicinity, please, because that's only going to cause trouble with the other people who are there from the other particular factions. And we don't need any of that nonsense going on. Okay. Rise Now Media says, I'll be there. Well, Rise Now Media, if you are interviewing anybody, I would be happy to be interviewed by you. Christopher says, my uncle was from Wallsend and on the Arctic convoys during World War II. Good for him. Good for him. British Legends says he's thinking of coming along this Saturday. Please do, British Legends. It'd be great to see you again. Bring your flag. I know you always have a flag as well with you. That would be good. Enough is enough rally. 12 for 12:30 this Saturday is going to be. It's going to be great. Now, what I'd like to do, is another man that we know a lot of. Robert, good evening to you, sir. Look forward to seeing you also. Hopefully you can make it. British Legend says no retreat, no surrender. Now, let me bring on our co-organizer here, Mr. Nick Mitchell from the We Say It podcast. And Nick's also going to be talking. He's also going to be giving a speech on the day. So let's say hello, everybody, to our man, Nick.
Good evening, all. How are we all doing?
Good to see you, Nick.
Yes, I can actually see you now. Now we have a new addition. Man has to wear glasses now, unfortunately.
All right.
So, yeah, I can actually see you now.
Well, so, it helps to make you look more intellectual.
I was thinking that myself, but then I was like, does it or does it not? You know?
Oh, glasses always do. Absolutely.
So, Saturday.
Are they photoreactive? Like, my glasses are photoreactive, which means that if you're in the sun, like they'll go dark, and they look like sunglasses.
I know they've got anti-glare on them. That's about all I know.
you know if they were photoreactive.
No, well, I know that.
Absolutely.
No, definitely not. So, Saturday. I think we're doing something. What are we doing on Saturday? You know, something's in my mind. I think we've got something planned, and we've got something big planned. But
absolutely,
I'm not going to talk too much on Saturday. I'm not going to give too much away about what I'm going to say on Saturday. I'm going to talk about a slightly different issue that also correlates to the issue that we're going to be speaking about on Saturday. So to elaborate a little bit for the people, I don't know if anybody's seen it or heard of it, but it's something that has been in the works for a very, very, very long time, decades. This has been in the works for. It's something called a digital ID.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll take it back a couple of steps. So I've spoke a lot about problem, reaction, solution. And for the people that don't know what the problem, reaction, solution actually is, is the governments create the problem. They already have, or they already know what the reaction is going to be based on the problem they have created. Then they also have the solution, right? This is like a 3-stage plan: problem, reaction, solution. So they've created the problem of mass immigration into the country, right? This isn't going to be implemented just because of this, but this is the grounds in which they're using to implement this digital ID that I'm going to talk about. So the governments have created the issue of mass immigration into the country, as well as other countries as well, right? But we're focusing on the UK right now.
Okay.
We have an unprecedented level of legal and illegal immigration. Now, a lot of people forget about the legal side of things, right?
Oh, very
But
much so,
we're going to add it in there. So legal and illegal, right? They have now sparked the reaction, right? We've seen what's happened over the past, we'll say sort of really 6 months, where a lot of protests outside hotels have happened, where people are gathering en masse in areas, etc., etc. Over the sort of past 6 to 8 months, it's heightened exponentially, you know?
Yeah.
So there's the reaction. Now, what can we do to keep the people of Great Britain safe, right? Because this is under the guidance of safety. We will implement, as the government, a digital ID. This way, it will wean out the illegals and so on and so forth, because they will not be able to acquire a digital ID because they're not supposed to be here, right? So because they're not supposed to be here, this is what they're going to do. And on the back of the digital ID will fall even more forms of control. And by what I mean more forms is 15-minute cities, right? The ability to have everything that you need within a 15-minute walking vicinity. Schooling, groceries, medicine, that's all you need, according to the government. That's all you need. Schooling, medicine, food, okay. And you'll get your walk, right? Your walk is your walk to these facilities, right? Second of all is the implementation of a digital currency. Now, a digital currency is not a new thing. There is already parts of the world that have digital currencies, right? It's just not here yet. It's coming. And this can all be tied to your digital ID, to your form of ID. Now, if anybody is watching who's perspicacious enough, you will notice that your local supermarket chains, your Asda's, Morrison's, Aldi's, etc., now have little barriers upon entry to your stores. They have tellies with cameras. They have self-scanners with cameras. This is all part of the bigger picture of your digital ID. So you will enter said store, boom, camera's got you straight away, right? It knows who you are, it knows your name, it knows where you are, it knows how long you're there for, what you're buying, when you're buying it, how much you're spending. It's tracking all of this. But remember, this is under the guidance of safety. It's for your own protection, right? It's to keep you safe. And this is a family show, but I'm going to say the words and acronym of BS, right? That's what it is. It's BS. So when you see through that and you understand that these things are not being implemented to keep you safe, this is being implemented as a form of control, dictatorship, totalitarianism, every single word you could possibly describe, in which, you know, is what it is. But that's what we're leading into. So going forward, obviously on Saturday, I'm pretty sure there will be a speaker that's going to touch on said issue, which then correlates to the immigration side of things, that they're not doing this, right, to keep us safe. So we need to highlight it as well. And we need to make them understand that we cannot be controlled, and we will not allow them to control us in that aspect, right? We can't have it. So Saturday has to be a turning point, right? It has to be a turning point for everybody and multiple avenues, okay? We need to make the governments understand that their job, which it says in their laws and by their book, their first rule of government is to serve and protect the public. Now, they've not been doing that for near on, 2-3 decades, maybe longer than that, where they've actually served the public and done good for the British public. You know, it's always to appease everybody else. We have to do this to be seen to be helping everybody else before we help the British people. And that is another reason why we need to stand up on Saturday and say enough is enough in multiple aspects. We want our money for us, right? We are the British taxpayer. Our British taxpayer money should be coming to us, right? But also in the right form, right? Yes, we don't want people leeching off of the system and don't think they have to work because of whatever, right? Our money should be our money. What we bring in, we should get back. I don't see any problem with that. And if I say Scotland first and Scotland only, well, that could be misconstrued in multiple different ways, right? But I see no problem with saying Scotland first, Scotland only. I don't want our money going to foreign aid, to go into other countries. Can't have it. We don't want it. Our money's our money. Well, it should be anyway. And even if you want to go Westminster, right, and say, yes, that we generate an income, then we give it to Westminster, and then Westminster allocates it back to us, etc., etc. Even in that aspect, and in that system, in the system that we currently are in, right, that's fine. I'm okay with that. As long as it comes back to us, that's fine. Okay, goes down there, goes to the central bank, gets distributed, we get it back, Wales gets their share, Northern Ireland gets their share, England gets their share. We're good. We're fine. Happy days.
That's right. That's the point of a union has been always to share the fruits that are accumulated by working together. And I like to think that that's worked fairly well in the United Kingdom in the days where Scotland makes more money than it necessarily needs. It shares it with its neighbours and its family members, really, and vice versa. And so the union works out quite well that way. I think what people don't like, though, is for incomers to share in the collective fruits of the nation without ever having put anything in. And that's not much of an issue when there's only a small number of incomers coming in. But when it's literally 1 million a year, many of whom are going to be eligible for welfare payments, then that does great. And it should, because it's quite simply unfair. It's unfair that these things should be happening to people who are all of us struggling anyway, most of us struggling anyway with the cost of living. So that's a point that the sheer fairness of it is a point that very often just gets missed. And I think that's really what upsets a lot of people as well, and turns them onto this issue, is that it's just not right for those sorts of levels of people to be coming in and costing us money. And we're paying almost for what sometimes often seems like our own replacement. And these are perfectly valid issues, and they're perfectly sensible issues, and they can all be properly addressed if they're properly spoken out. Now, if you're watching on TikTok, you won't actually see this interview because it's only being conducted here on the computer screen on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. But absolutely. Well, it's going to be really good to have you there. Speaking on those kind of matters, very timely. I think I know you've got other matters that you'll be mentioning and speaking on. You also gave a short speech down in when we were in Dover back on the Saturday the 19th, which was extremely well received as well. You're a very clear speaker, a very consistent speaker, easy to hear and to follow what you have to say, and so really looking forward to you speaking on that.
Well, this
Absolutely.
time I'm doing it right per se. So my previous speeches that I've given in Dover and Enough is Enough last year in George Square and previously to that, I've sort of just done it off the cuff. I've done a little bit in my head, but it's been off the cuff. And the one that I prepared last year for Enough is Enough in George Square, I had it. It was there. It was in the mind. The minute I stepped on that stage, boom, it left. It floated off into the cloud. So this time, I've done it right, and I've done it right again. But this time, I'm going to have it in my hand. I'm going to have it on paper because this is probably one of the most important times and speeches that I'm potentially going to give between now and the election next year. We may have something in the works for next year, but basing it on that between now and May next year, this is probably one of the most important speeches that I'm going to give. So I want to get it right, and I need to get it right. So I've typed it up, I'm printing it, it's going to be in my hand, and hopefully we can execute it in the correct manner that everybody's going to be able to follow and understand.
Absolutely.
So we'll get
absolutely there. That's the thing when you stand in front of a crowd that's an excited crowd, you feel the energy of it, and so that makes you it can take your brain away from what you are carefully thinking about. So it really does help to have it written down somewhere, whether on a piece of paper or on a phone or whatever, and not even necessarily having to read it all out as such, but just to feel the crowd and know that you're never going to get lost, you're never going to get stuck for words, because you've got something here to say. And yeah, it does help to write it down as well, because that does help to organize the thoughts into a logical pattern, which makes it easier for people to understand as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. We've got an eclectic crowd, I have to say. We have got a chap who's going to be, well, I can't speak for what any of them are going to say. I don't know, but we also have a person from a Scottish nationalist party as well, who's going to be speaking, and I'm so glad that he's going to do that, and he's going to be given food for thought for all the other Scottish so-called nationalists that will be in the vicinity at the All Under One Banner event. And I mean, what would you say to people who want? What would you say to keep the two sides kind of polite with each other? How shall we? I would say
that. I would say that, like I gave in my speech actually a little bit last year, if you remember. I said I was here to also stand up for that lot over there, right? Meaning the SNP lot over there at the time. And yeah, people maybe went, oh, whoa, why is he doing that? Well, again, these issues will affect them. It is affecting them. They can't see it. The blinkers are on. The eyes are closed. The ears are shut, right? They don't want to hear it. They don't want to see it. And the time will come when they will need to wake up, right? Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. You know what? I've got hope, right? I've got a little bit of hope. So hopefully there is a time when they will wake up. So what I would say to anybody that's going to come along, do not rise to the occasion as such to appease the opposition. Rise to the occasion to support the people you're standing beside. Because what they want is they want the reaction from us, as it were, right? They want us to act out. They want us to act in a demeaning, aggressive, tone, etc. They want that reaction from us. Don't give them it. Just wave. You remember the penguins from Madagascar? Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Right? That's it. That's all the reaction you need to give them. Because we know, in the audience you have here and the team behind you, we are on the right side of history, right? We are the ones that are defending and protecting the country. It might not be the way that everybody necessarily agrees with, but at some point in the very, very near future, when push comes to shove, right, they will potentially say, maybe they were right. In fact, they are right. So we're not far right, we're just right. But
well said.
We can't rise to their occasion. Raise your colours and rise to the occasion for us and what we're doing as you, me, other speakers, and everybody else that's there standing side by side with one another, united as one. And what's even better is don't go there and be part of it and not act upon it. You can be the next person to do this. Speak to one another. Like, don't form in your own little, crowds as such within a larger crowd. Go to your neighbour, next to you, standing next to you. Speak to one another. We all have the same common ground. We're all there for the same reason. We can't be divided amongst ourselves. Talk to each other. That's all we need to do. Start the conversations. Now, I was right on the verge of changing part of my speech. Right, I was right on the cusp. I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do it. Right, not the time, not the place. Well, it is the time and it is the place, but it's not at the same time. Now, while I'm there, I will happily elaborate for anybody that wants to understand things that are happening in different areas which affects us directly. So if anybody does want any more information on said things, I think if anybody can read between the lines, they know what I'm talking about. If you want any more information, you can come up and speak to me. I'm not going to bite you. It's fine unless you ask me to, but that's by the by. Yeah, talk to one another. That's all we need to do, and remain civil. Key point. We have to remain civil.
Absolutely, 100%. That's you holding forth at the Free Speech Rules rally, which was last April, which was just after Humza Yousaf had decided to enact the law against free speech. So you spoke well at that, and you did. Humza Yousaf was speaking at the other side of the square, and as you said there, you said that you were speaking for that lot also, and for the importance of freedom of speech. And in this sense, we're also speaking for, quote unquote, that lot as well, in the sense of helping them to understand the importance of protecting our borders. Absolutely fantastic. So, Nick, we'll see you and others on Saturday, this coming Saturday.
I'll have a shave for you all, okay?
Oh,
I'll trim myself up and I'll get myself more presentable.
Well, that'll be a sight to see. And we encourage everybody to come along at 12 o'clock for a 12:30 start. There's going to be 8 speeches and 7 speakers, and we'll be going for an hour and a half. I should imagine by 2 o'clock it should be coming to an end. If anybody else, if you want to know how to plan the rest of your day, when you get down there, you will notice quite a few of the All Under One Banner people. who are the Scottish nationalist group that's also rallying in the same vicinity. And you'll probably notice some of the kind of the people, I don't have a proper word for them, but they like to think that they're against us. They're a kind of militant group. You'll probably see a few of them. Just ignore them. Just ignore them. I'm talking about the stand up for rapists people. I like to call them so, stand up for racism, against racism or whatever. They can just be ignored. Basically, we intend to totally ignore them and concentrate on saving our country. So, folks, just let's see what the comments here, if we get any. British Legend says, well said, Nick. Catherine says, thanks, Nick. All the best for Saturday. Ewood says, I'll join you all online from Texas.
Get a
Anthony's,
flight. Get a plane
over. Exactly.
Let's go. Come on. Get on that plane. It's only 8 hours. Something.
Exactly. Anthony says, me too. See you Saturday, Nick. Good.
Yeah. Again,
okay, Nick.
We're all here to talk. If anybody wants to chat, I'll be there all. As they say, I'll be here all week. So,
right. And you are also found over on your Rumble site, and you are at. What is your Rumble site?
It's It's rumble.com/user/WeSayItPodcast, all one word. You can also follow me on X as well. If you are on X, my link tree basically is in my bio. So you click that, boom, you'll get all my socials. So we're there. We have been having a little bit of teething issues with the new studio and stuff, trying to get the systems working right. That's why I've been a bit quiet, in and out. It's been challenging, but we get there. These things were always going to happen. You know, I was fully aware that these things were going to happen, but we embrace it and we get there. So
well, that was the good wee studio you're in at the moment. Anyway,
I love it.
Yeah,
it's great. I've got my sofa bed. I've got everything I need. I don't even need to leave this place. I'm happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
well,
we
could pull an all-night podcast in there.
Oh, easy. I would maybe need a little heater for when it got a bit later, because it does start to get a little bit chilly after about 9 o'clock. But no, I would hone on again. Join us if you're joining us on Saturday. Do not engage with the opposition if there is any there. You're there for each other. We're there for the same reason. Bring your flags of the British Isles, raise them high, enjoy your day. And in fact, that's probably one of the biggest parts, I would say. Enjoy the day, right? We want everybody to go home thinking that they helped and made a difference. So enjoy your day.
That's right. And absolutely everybody who comes along is going to make a difference, And absolutely, you will make a difference if you come along. You will be standing up for what's right, and you'll be giving strength and morale to everybody else who is there. So everybody can do something. And so if you are able to come along outside Holyrood, we will see you Saturday at 12 for 12:30. Okay, Nick, thanks very much for your comments, and see you soon.
Thank you all.
Right. Bye-bye. Good stuff. And Nick is at rumble.com/user/WeSayItPodcast, and also on x.com. We Say It Podcast. Good. Now let's just put up the thing again, the graphic. Now, folks, if you can't make it, there are other ways that you can help us. You can share all our publicity material, both before the event and during the event and after the event. We're going to be posting stories. We're going to be posting reels. We're going to be posting videos. We're hoping that we'll get a live feed as well. We're going to be posting all the speeches, and we're going to be posting pictures. And it's just a matter, please, of just sharing them, liking them, commenting below them, whatever platform they're on. Try to push it out a little bit further. We have 2 or 3 people who do that very strongly, and they really do help our reach. And they know who they are. Some of them are watching tonight, and I thank them for the publicity that they gave. So that's one way that you can help. Another way that you can help is to buy our book on the subject. And we've got a picture there of our books, and it's called Protect Our Country: Policies to Stop Mass Immigration, a big book for the Union, Volume 2. Now, you can get that by simply going to Amazon and searching for Protect Our Country, and it will be the first thing that comes up. Search Amazon for Protect Our Country. Now, other ways that you can help us is simply to give us a one-off donation. Now, if you go to our shop, you will find donation buttons. And these are donation buttons for like a £5, a tenner, £25, £50, 75. Here they are here. Simply, they're at our shop. Let's get the shop banner up and go to A Force for Good. Let me see. There we go. aforceforgood.uk/shop-1. If you go there, you'll get the donation buttons where you can just simply make a donation to us, and that would be very much valued, because these kind of events, they don't come for free. We haven't done a crowdfunder for this or anything like that. We're just really relying upon somebody who likes what we do and wants to donate because the Spirit moves them, and see how much we can get as a consequence of that. And if you would prefer, however, to donate monthly, then you can donate monthly via our Union Supporters program, which is at forceforgood.uk/union-supporters. And if you go there, you can donate from £3 a month to whatever sum a month that the Spirit tells you to donate, and it keeps our show on the road. It keeps us able to produce the content. It keeps us able to produce the banners, the posters, the hard copy material, the flags, and the action. And without it, we couldn't do any of it. Without you guys and girls helping us, we couldn't do any of it. So there's ways that you can support. And another page where you can simply drop a one-off is at our donate to page, which is aforceforgood.uk/donate to. That's a numeral 2. And that all helps. That all helps. We do not have the money that all of the NGOs, which are going to be raged against us on Saturday, we don't have their money. They have British taxpayers' money. They have your money, in fact, which is very irritating. But we do what we can on a small amount, and I think that we do it very well, and we do it very well with your support and with the support of great chaps there like Nick Mitchell from the We Say It podcast. Now, folks, that's the top of the hour, so we will be back next Saturday. Sorry, we will be back next Wednesday, but between then and now we have Saturday, and we hope to see as many of you as possible at Holyrood 12 for a 12:30 start for our Enough is Enough rally on Saturday, the 6th of September coming. I'll see many of you there, and for the rest, I'll see you next Wednesday. it just remains for me to say, God bless the United Kingdom and God save the King. See you next week.